Greetings and welcome. Bismillah, Rahman Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I would like to greet all of you in the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum, but in English, it simply is a prayer of peace be upon you. And today we're going to talk about mental health, particularly from the Dianetics point of view. And with us today to go deep into this subject, we have a powerful sister, and I will introduce her, Sister Nayyirah Muhammad, and let's go ahead and bring her on. All right. Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Wa alaikum salam, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. Praise be to Allah. And I want to thank you, of course, for coming on to this program and talking about mental health, particularly from the Dianetics standpoint or point of view. As we know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says that this is a tool that can be used to help our people obtain balance, if you will. If you want to, let me go ahead first and let the people know just a little bit about yourself. My sister is a transformational life coach, inspirational speaker, a teacher, a life repair specialist, and a spiritual advisor. On her wonderful website, it says that her mission is to help clients obtain optimal health by improving the function of the mind, body, and spirit through an integrated, holistic healing approach. And with that, that's powerful right there, sister, because we know, and I've had guests on here before, and one of the things that they always talk about, whether it be in medicine or mental health, is that the Western approach is always looking at parts and not looking at it in a holistic, not looking at our mental or physical or spiritual in a holistic way. Can you talk a little bit more about yourself and go into sharing with us some of the power that's in Dianetics?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, of course, like you said, I am Sister Nayyirah Muhammad. I am the wife of Brother David Muhammad. We are located here in St. Petersburg, Florida. I have 5 beautiful children, 8 grandchildren. Yay for that.
Yes.
Okay. And I definitely want to give honor to my mother. I am the eldest of 5 children. And my father passed away a little over 21 years ago. However, I still have a father as well. My mother's husband, who has been in my life since I was 17 years old. So I'm local here in the city of St. Petersburg of Muhammad Mosque number 95. And, I'm just striving to do the work. I am a sister that I love the struggle, right? I love us as a people. Yes. I love our culture, and I'm striving to serve humanity, and everything starts with us and then spreads abroad. So I guess I can truly say that I am a freedom, justice, and equality fighter for humanity, starting with us first. So that's what you have in your sister, is just a sister that's, with the struggle, trying to help free our minds, right?
Absolutely. And I see the picture of Harriet Tubman behind you. And, one of her famous quotes is that, she could have, and I'm not quoting it verbatim, but she was saying that she could have freed more if they only knew that they were slaves. And then you basically use that same phrase when you go and approach the Dianetics. Can you tell us a little bit, about that and how those two are similar?
Well, yeah. So for me, Harriet Tubman, of course, you see her in the back. Thank you. She is my shero, and reportedly says she did state, according to reports, that she freed thousands of slaves, and she could have freed thousands more if only they knew that they were slaves. Now, I interpret that as, here it is, they didn't have the chains on their physical presence, right? But the change was still here. They were still locked in their minds, because at some point we were given freedom, but we still stayed with the massa, you know? So even in this day and time in 2021, many of us, we are free. Like we are free, but we're still stuck in the
Right.
bondages of our own minds, and not just dealing when it comes to, the enemy, dealing with white supremacy, but I'm just saying the bondages of our minds of fear, distrust, mistrust, all of the different things that we go through, limiting beliefs, self-sabotaging ways, those things that hinder us, our own impediments that hinder us from totally being what God has called us to be,
Right.
So for me, it's like, as one that's helping to strive to free the minds of us, is how do we get rid of those limiting beliefs, those self-sabotaging ways, those mentalities, those characteristics that keeps us out of luck with ourselves and God himself.
Yes, that's powerful. And so, like you say, we're possessed, if you will. We're possessed with an alien mind. And so Dianetics, it basically deals with the painful experiences that affect our behavior. And so, as you were saying, some of these experiences that we grow up with that produce self-doubt and produce, negative behavior. And we many times don't even know why we're acting the way that we do. So we have, as Dr. Ava would say, we are not what we think we are, but we are what we think. But the only problem is that many of us don't know what we're thinking. Can you talk about the power of that subconscious mind?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go back a little bit to help those who may not understand, Dianetics. Dianetics is the modern science to mental health. It is an alternative solution to mental health, right? So understanding that Dianetics deals with helping one to get to the root or to the source of all troubles of the mind, right? That's what Dianetics is. It's a tool that helps you to locate those things that keeps us in well, I'm gonna use the word aberrated state, which means departure from rational thinking, right? Deviation from rational thought. And as you go into Dianetics, we come to learn what is called the reactive mind. Some refer to it as the subconscious mind, but in the term of Dianetics, it's called the reactive mind, right? And so as we learn about this reactive mind, it's truly a mind that's made up of trauma. It's made up of painful emotions. It's made up of this. You ready for this, Brother Stephen? Command phrases. Can't have, don't have, won't have, I won't, I can't. Everything that keeps you from functioning as a God, that reactive mind is made up of that. So it's an implanted mind. It's not of the original. It's an implanted mind. Scripture tells us, Brother Stephen, in the Bible, it says that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. That's in the book of James. Well, that means two minds, right? What I've come to identify as a name for those two minds is one, that analytical mind, which is the mind that is made to think right. As the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says, the mind is made to think right. When you look at it from a Dianetic standpoint, the analytical mind, that is the mind that listens, it computes, it thinks right. When it comes to that other mind, that mind that makes you not stable, right? It makes you irrational. That's the reactive mind. There you go, two minds. One made to think right. The other one is going to have you to be irrational.
And so many of us may not know, but this mind actually can start in the womb. So this is why the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did his powerful lecture series, How to Give Birth to a God, because many of us don't know that we have to protect the woman, the environment that the woman is in when she's carrying the baby within her that's being shaped. And can you talk about that and how important it is for us as men to protect our women, and how important it is for women to be careful of putting themselves in certain environment, watching certain programs, and listening to certain types of music.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, when a woman is pregnant, that is the laboratory of God.
Mm-hmm.
She's co-creating with the creator,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and depending on her frame of mind is what's going to be developed in her womb, brought forth in the world. Mm-hmm. So the importance of the woman having her mind and her environment is as sacred as possible is going to determine what type of child that's going to come into this world. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said it's like having a blank sheet of paper, and you get the right on the mind of that child. So dependent on the elevated state of that woman is what is going to be written on the mind of that child or the brain of that child. So it's really important, not only for the woman to have her mind in a certain position and condition, but it's also important for the man to also have an environment where that woman can be put in a sacred space to co-create with God himself.
That's beautiful.
It's the laboratory of God. Her womb, her mind, her womb here and her womb here is the laboratory of God. How does God make himself known? It is through the womb of the woman.
Right. And we just really
womb. That's her spiritual womb, her mental womb.
Mm-hmm.
And men are the maintainers of. I'm sorry, go for it.
No, I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm just saying, like you're saying, I think that we really need to understand that, you know, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches, that a nation can rise no higher than the woman. You know, that is something that we really need to look into, because as you just said, the woman is the co-creator with God. Now, that's a very heavy statement that you make right there. However, it is through, like you're saying, the womb that we give birth to giants. And so the woman, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says, once again, there would be no Jesus if there wasn't for a Mary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And understanding the science of that, and understanding that not only should we know that, but also know that the enemy of this world, or should I say the wise of this world, want to devalue the womb space, the mind, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional, and the physical of the woman, because they know that the new world comes through the woman, and in particular, the Black woman. So it's really key that in this dispensation of time that we focus in on our mental health. It's really key during this dispensation of time, not just giving birth to physical, but giving birth to new realities, that we understand the sacredness of our minds, and every day, matter of fact, every moment, we are in co-creation with God himself.
Right, absolutely. And so let's go into now, you know, shaping the child as the child comes out. And you were talking about some of these negative words. What can you say to parents to begin to, you know, implant or drop the seed into that subconscious mind, which is like a fertile field, you know, and you're dropping the seed, and you know, any type of seed can be dropped, because as we're studying in Dianetics, the subconscious mind is always on, it's never off. Can you talk to parents on how they can begin to shape their child for greatness? And then let's go and get right on into Repair the Black Family.
Well, you know, according to the National Science Foundation, it is said that 80% of our thoughts are negative. We have between 12,000 to I think it's like 12 to 12,000 up to 12 to 50,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of those thoughts are negative, which means it's going to take double time for us to reprogram. Listen to what I'm saying. Reprogram our minds and reprogram our children, which means we have to flip the 80, make the 80% positive and the 20% negative, which means constantly you got to speak life. There's power of life and death in the tongue. So it's crucial that we speak life. It's crucial that we find not just anything to say positive, but the proper things to say positive. What do you want to create? Do you want to create a God? And not just with your children, with yourself. You got to be able and willing to create a new mind, a new way. You know, Les Brown, one of my mentors, said this: you become that which you think, that which you read, and that which you listen to. You become that. So we have to, on purpose, listen to, read, think, the type of mindsets that we want to develop into. So this is why we as followers of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, under the leadership of Minister Farrakhan, we say we are students, because we're constantly in the classroom of God. So it's very critical. You know, one of the things, I raised 5 children and I have 8 grandchildren.
Beautiful.
Each and every, all praises due to Allah. Each and every one of my children and my grandchildren can tell you, up until this day, to this moment, I tell them, you're God's. Do you know what that does in this dispensation of time, when a child leaves their parents' house, go to school, knowing that they are a God because their mommy said so or their nana said, I'm a God? That's life.
Yeah. Right. That's very important, like you say. And so if you can give us some things, I mean, as far as like you were saying, you know, listen to the right music, read the right books, watch the right programs. What are some other things that we can do as individuals and as young people growing up that will help keep us focused, help keep us balanced, help keep us on the road to success?
Well, number one, I would say this: give yourself permission to make new decisions. A lot of times we function from our past on decisions that we made of the past, and it keeps us stuck in the present, and it keeps us not creating the future. So it's okay to make new decisions. It's okay to recover from your past shortcomings or past failures. It's okay to make a new decision in present time, so that you can create new realities. That's number one. Number two, I would say every day, do something or explore something new. Like, be willing to learn something new. Every day should be a new day that you have learned something new about yourself and something new about something else. Something new about yourself and something new about something else. Another thing that I help people to do is write a gratitude journal. What are you grateful for? Every day, spend at least 5 minutes of not just saying and talking about it. Write it down. Because the more you become grateful, the more things will come to you to be grateful for. So what I'm saying here is we have to reprogram ourselves to function at a higher level. Right. Because we are a people that we was robbed of the knowledge of self, the knowledge of God, the knowledge of our culture, our language, all of this. This is still, from a DNA level, cellular level, these things are still passed down from generation to generation to generation. We have to reprogram ourselves at a cellular level. And when you study Dianetics, you can do that by changing your mind. So I would say this: it's okay to change your mind.
It's all right.
It's okay. It's okay not to condemn yourself or your parents. Heal relationships with your mother, your father. Heal relationships. Be willing to go into the unknowns of the family. Because
That's
many
important.
of us, yes, absolutely. Many of us do not have the confront, meaning being willing and able to face the past of our family history. Be willing to go into the unknown to gain understanding and not judgment and not criticism. Be willing to go and heal relationships.
Right. And so let's look at because that's real important, healing self. So let's get into a little bit of auditing. You know, what do you get from, you know, auditing, and what's that whole process? Because I know that's, you know, going in. Well, I'll let you explain it.
Well, you know, auditing is a process where you have two people sitting. One person is listening and the other person is speaking. And the auditor, which is like a counselor, is asking certain questions. And the most valuable thing that I've experienced myself and I've delivered is the ability to listen. For somebody to listen to you, to be heard, is so therapeutic.
Right.
For a person to sit and allow you to get off or unburden yourself, that now you can be able to come up through the pain and literally have it to have no more force with you, no more emotional charge, where you can literally solve your own problem. Did you know how powerful that is?
Right.
For you to be able to sit, have a communication cycle, and to be able to look and see, find the single source of that thing that has held you in bondage, and to solve your own problems. That's powerful. It's so healing to have someone to care enough to sit and listen. Most times when we're in therapy sessions, you find that you are being evaluated. Someone is telling you what's wrong. When it comes to this type of therapy with Dianetics, you're not being evaluated. You're being heard. You're being listened to, and you are guided to solve your own problems.
See, that's beautiful right there. And
And
so,
it's powerful.
and it's powerful. And so the thing about it is, and to be honest with you, is that is a frightening thing for many people. You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
we're asked to go back into experiences where we experience pain, and that's something that is, you know, a frightening process. Can you tell us about how a person can, you know, ease themselves into that so that they can go into that process, and also when they have this other person on the other side of them, who should that be?
Well, thank you for the question. It is a frightening thing. But, you know, may I just speak on my experience?
Yes.
Okay. I had to get to the point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, busted and disgusted in my own mind. And I tried a lot of other things to help myself. And I'm not saying that I didn't get results, but what I'm saying is I didn't get the best results. So I got to a point where I was willing to try something for me that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave me. So it took courage for me to be willing to face my own demons.
Right.
I'm not saying that I wasn't afraid, but I had to muster up courage just to attempt to face my own demons.
Right.
And in addition to that, as I was going through the process, once I got the courage, then I had to, here we go, be truthful.
Yes. That's
not
true.
with the person that was sitting on the other side, but with myself. Because I sat in a process that as I went through the process, I was becoming free. Free of the things that was plaguing me. And guess what, Brother Stephen?
Yes.
It wasn't all about what happened to me. It was what I did to other people.
Okay.
What I watched other people do, and I didn't say anything. And one of the greatest things that I found relief from of the things that I did to myself.
Right.
So it took courage to tell the truth for me to go free.
Right.
It took me willing to be truthful and courageous. And here we go. Be fearless.
Right.
Fearless.
But because that's the only way that you're going to get that healing, isn't it? You have to face, as they say, you have to face the fear. You have to face, you have to face this, if you would, right? If we could call it, for those who are in the Christianity or in that spiritual realm, we have to face these demons, right? That, as you're saying, causes this aberrated mind, causes us to react to certain situations, and then we react impulsively, and then later on we regret it.
Absolutely. I liken it to this. We die daily in the Lord. I was willing to die so I can live again.
That's powerful.
I was willing to let go everything to go through a rebirth because I was tired of running from myself.
Yes.
I was tired of having on all of the different masks. I'm good. You know how we do it. I'm straight.
Right.
Right. But nobody knows what I was going through when I was suffering for 10 years with my father passing. I'm good with the social veneer and everybody else, but my husband knew what I was going through. When it was nice, I was moaning and groaning. And as a Muslim, you can't grieve.
Right.
But the reality of it is I was hurting and I missed my daddy. And I prayed and I asked Allah to help me. And I'm not saying he didn't help me, but he brought the help that I needed. Right. And that was Dianetics.
And
that's
so
one portion. You see, so facing the demons, but facing the pain, facing the trauma, facing the losses, facing, the different what I want to say, I just faced so many different things. Right. I faced a lot. But what I can say is, look at me now.
That's right.
Because what you see is what you get. I am myself now. I'm no longer operating from, thank you, Allah. I'm not operating from the personality of my mother. Not saying anything is wrong with my mother, but I'm just saying I'm me now. Right? Yes. I'm not operating from the personality in Dianetics, for those that study the Valises, okay? But we're going to use this word, personality. Of my father, of my auntie, or whoever and whatever, because we have all of these different personalities. And some days you yourself, and some days you somebody else. Right? You don't really know who's talking.
Right. That's right.
But when you go through the process and you unveil yourself, you really become your true righteous self.
And you said it so perfectly, right? You don't know who's talking. And so that is that's something that, like you said, we have these split personalities because of this engramic mind, if you will, or this aberrated mind. And so can you tell us about the processes that we have to go through to make it to a clear? And then can you explain what a clear is?
So I would just say this because, to just keep it simple, as far as that process is concerned, it does take what it takes. I would just say if a person is interested in going clear, just arrive with the auditor, arrive at the Church of Scientology, right? And get a consultation on what that takes. You will have to go through intensive auditing, intensively, like intensively. It's not something you do once a week and and go clear. It was an everyday process for me. Every day, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day, sitting in a chair, confronting my own demons, getting rid of that mind. And I don't have a reactive mind. There is a difference, family. There is a difference. Okay. I don't have it. So it took intensively, it was like surgery, sitting in a chair day in and day out until it happened for me. That's one. You asked about what would it take. And then the next question was
what is a clear? What does it mean to be clear?
Well, let me just say this. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, accept your own and be yourself. What is your own self? Your own self is a righteous Muslim.
Right.
That's the language that I can use for clear.
That's
that
beautiful.
I have the ability to submit. Listen to what I'm saying. My full and complete will to do the will of God. I don't have any interference. It's me and God.
Right.
Everything, what it means to be clear is that you have your own identity, your own personal identity. You get to your basic, which is you.
Right. Which many of us are afraid of. We're afraid to be ourselves.
Right. So I don't have any other mind that would keep me from me fully being one with the law.
Yes, that's right.
And I do it by choice. I choose to live my life with Allah without any interference.
Yep. As the master Farad Muhammad said, accept your own and be yourself, and this is something that is very difficult for many of us, which is to just accept being Black. Some of us have a difficulty with that. And then on top of that, we have a difficulty with being ourselves. We think that maybe emulating this person or that person will get us to where we want to go, when we should just be ourselves. I wanted to get now in.
May I say something?
Yes.
It's kind of difficult when we've been made other than our own self.
Yeah, right.
We have been literally made other than our own self. When we look at Willie Lynch,
right,
and what has been done to us, right? The separation. He said that he had a methodology that if it was installed correctly, it would last up to 300 up to 1,000 years. Distrust,
self-perpetuating.
It's self-perpetuating. That mindset is still in us, and the Savior came to uproot the mindset. What I found with the technology is it just helps us to get rid of it faster, quicker, where it no longer have any more force or power with you. This is why sometimes what I have found since I've been clear, most people don't believe that you truly can be happy. You truly can want for your brother and sister what you want for yourself genuinely.
As a people, that's right.
There is no interference with my love between A to B. I can go straight from A to B and it's pure without any ill intention. Because we've been operating from a mindset that even when we strive to be right, there's some deviation that creeps in from that other mind.
Man.
So when you have eradicated, I'm talking about eradicating a mind that will no longer have force and power over you, and you can truly be from A to B. Right. 100.
That's right. Oh man, this is powerful. So let's go ahead and get into repair the Black family, because as we know, the Black family is definitely under attack here under the architecture of white supremacy. Tell us a little bit about the organization, and then let's get right on into some of the services that you all provide.
Well, one, the Repair of the Black Family is an avenue to get the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad out in the streets for our people. To be able to teach a thorough knowledge of self, God, the enemy, and the time, and what must be done. We know that the Black family is in need of repair, which is our reparations.
Right.
When you repair the Black family, you repair humanity. So it is our goal to set a good standard of what a healthy family looks like on purpose. You know, my husband and I have been married for 23 years. And we're not just married, we're happily married. And we want to set a good example that this is possible. Because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, where there's no strong family, there is no nation.
Right.
So it is our desire to help to restore the family.
And so what are some of the things, what are some of the programs that you all have that will help repair the family? For instance, is there a program specifically that you talk to the men, one where you talk to the women, or one that you bring them together? Share with us some of these processes that you all have.
So I have transformational life coaching that's done on an individual basis. My husband and I provide transformational marriage counseling and coaching, which is very successful. And we do have times where we do have men and women programs separately. So we kind of tailor fit the workshops and seminars depending on what audience we're going to be speaking to.
Okay.
On a day-to-day basis, we have transformational life coaching.
All right. All right. And so can people bring you into their community? I know with the COVID coronavirus pandemic that, you know, travel might not be possible. So is it, but in some situations they can, but in other situations, do they just Zoom you in or bring you in virtually?
Yes, so I'll do it virtually, and I'm also traveling. I've opened up my schedule to travel now.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Excellent. And so tell us some of the obstacles that you see that Black families face right now.
Lack of communication, proper communication. Like that's the number one thing. And I think we found that out quite honestly during COVID because you know, most of us is used to being on his phone.
Right.
That's right. We forgot how to, you know, husband and wife in the car scrolling on the phone, sitting at the dinner table, scrolling at the phone, children in their bedrooms. We have to bring the family, you know, one of the things I'll say this, share this. When we're here, everyone comes in the living room because we're family.
Right.
If it's just 30 minutes to an hour, put everybody back in the same room, because what does that do? It helps to bring in the affinity, the reality, the communication, which brings about understanding. One of the things that the Black family is faced with is misunderstandings in the family from poor communication.
Right. Right. So definitely communication is something that we definitely need to have. You know, in any type of relationship, communication is very important. So,
absolutely.
So let's look at I want to put up your website and or just show some of your website. Beautiful website. And there you go, of course, describing you there at the bottom. And so when we talk about repairing the Black family, we know that Black family is the root of nation building. And without the Black family, we know that there can be no nation. So what are some of the things that you say, you know, to help people understand the importance of the Black family? Because we're in a crisis, as you already know, we're in a crisis where it's hard to get the man to commit to the woman, and it's hard to get, you know, so we have so many things that are being thrown at us from Western society that is not a part of our culture in no way, shape, or form, from the music to the movies and so forth and so on. So what are some of the things that you help people to understand about the importance of keeping the family, or building the family and keeping the family together?
Well, yes, sir. Thank you. Number one, it's our time.
Mm-hmm.
It is our time, and greatness is within us, not on the outside of us necessarily as much as it is within us. And that is possible. It's
Mm-hmm.
possible for you and us and we, us, I, us. It's possible for us to come together and bring back the family structure. So one of the things that I tell people is, are you ready to take ownership? Mm-hmm. Are you ready to take on responsibility, to taking your rightful place on this planet? See, we are bringing in the kingdom of God is going to come in with or without us.
Right.
And we have to be ready and willing to be prepared to have a kingdom assignment.
Right. Right.
And God is not going to wait on us to get it together. He's just going to bring in a people that's willing to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly tell people is, where do you see yourself in the kingdom? Because it's happening now. The world that we once knew, that world doesn't exist anymore. The world that Harriet Tubman was in, that world doesn't exist. It is a changing of the guards right now.
Mm-hmm. That's
so
important.
It's our time. It's our time. And all we can do is deliver a clear message and set a great example.
Right, right.
I'm going to say that again. All we can do in this dispensation of time is give a clear message and set a great example. Mm-hmm. So for me, I pray that my husband and I are setting a great example and giving a clear message that it's our time. And we got to be willing to take our rightful place in the kingdom of God. It's language. Language is important. We can't play during this time. We have to speak the language. The language is that we're living in the last days.
Right.
For the old world to come out and the new world to come in. We're in transition. Mm-hmm. And where will we find ourselves in the kingdom or the hereafter?
Right.
What position, what role will you play? Mm-hmm. And you have an opportunity. This is the best opportunity that we can have in this dispensation of time. This is the days of our ancestors and everything that they prayed for. We are the ones. So we have to feed that truth to ourselves. We have to feed that truth to our children. We got to feed it to our neighbors. It's our job, that for those of us that know, it's our job to wake us up.
And I think you say something that's so very important when you talk about we're in a transitional world. We're in that twilight, if you will, that twilight stage where we're going out of one old world and into a new world. And in order for us to go into that new world, we have to shed the old ways of the old world, because we're not going to be able to go into that new world with that old mind, right? And that in those old ways, those Western ways, we need to go into the new world with a new mind and a new way of life, which of course for us is the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so I want to ask you, as we begin to wrap this up, about the 21-day couples challenge. What is that about?
Well, thank you. Well, that challenge ended. We into a mindset challenge right now, but that challenge started to help us to get physically fit, because we are at war. We are at war, right? And we understand that to bring the family, in particular couples, together, that is better for us to work out together to increase affinity, reality, and communication. If you notice that most times husband and wife, we gone, one person got to go to work, the other one doing this. So 30 minutes a day, 1 hour a day will help to increase this, right? Mm-hmm. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So we wanted to help strengthen the flesh together.
Absolutely.
21 days, couples working out together, building affinity, reality, and communication, building endurance together. And I mean, it was absolutely beautiful to have the couples working out together. You know,
Yes.
one of the things that's leading in our communities is heart disease.
Right.
And so it is our effort to war against obesity, to war against heart disease, to war against diabetes, to war against all of the things that plague us in the Black community. But let's do it together.
Right. And so one of the things that you talk about is that Dianetics talks about is the psychosomatic ills, these ills that we bring upon ourselves. Can you talk a little bit about those psychosomatic ills and how they affect our health? Because as you say, we have a number of different things affecting our health, but many of us don't know that the way that we think is a major contributor to us being sick and ill.
Yes. So the mind does make the body sick. And every thought, every sickness can be traced back to a thought, an improper thought. Like they say, all sickness is sin. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, teaches us that the root of our problem, the root of our the root of our ills are spiritual. All sickness is sin. It comes from the transgressions of our minds. So the more we clean up our minds, our thoughts, now you clean up your cells, because the mind is making the body sick. So whatever you think, it goes into your body, and your body is going to respond according to that.
That's powerful. And so I mean, I know we definitely have to have you to come back on to talk about how we can deal with stress, how we can deal with, just certain life situations. But as we close this on out, first, tell us what are some of the things that we can do to reprogram our mind? I think, prayer, meditation. What are some of the other things that we can do to reprogram this mind and keep it on the right track when we're, as we saying, bombarded with so many things in this world? And then let us know a little bit about how we can contact you and get your services.
Absolutely. Well, number one, I'm going to highly recommend that people get auditing. That's one. In addition to prayer, get some auditing. The next thing is use your imagination. We forgot about that, or we don't use it as we should. The most powerful thing that you have is your ability to imagine. Imagine the life that you want. Imagine the circumstances. Imagine the outcomes. No matter what it looks like in the now, create what you want it to be. Use your imagination. Even in a stressful situation, imagine yourself in a de-stressful situation.
Right.
The power of imagination. You can create. I do it every day. I use my imagination. I don't know about you, but when I was coming up, if you was using your imagination, we were told not to use it. Stop. Don't say that. That's where your creativity lies. So I would highly recommend that we use the power of imagination.
Right. Yes, I absolutely agree. And, of course, when you look at the school system, one of the things that they take out of that is some of the arts that I think are very important for us to be able to think outside the box, if you will. Drawing and art and music, all of these are very important for us to be able to expand our minds, if you will.
Absolutely.
And so give us, as we close on out, your contact information, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this on up.
Absolutely. So you can reach me at www.repairoftheblackfamily.com. In addition, you can reach me on Instagram at sister_Nayyirah. On Facebook is Nayyirah Tivica Muhammad, and on YouTube is Nayyirah Muhammad.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, sister. And is there any closing words that you would like to say before we go?
Yeah, sure. So let me just say this. The race is not to the swift nor to the strong, but those who can endure to the end. In the word endure, there's a word suffer. Be willing to suffer with yourself. You brought me on to talk about Dianetics. So I'm going to say this. Sit in a chair. Take a chance on you. Be willing to heal on purpose.
Absolutely.
Be willing to go through a process that will help you to unburden yourself to be your own righteous self. It's
Beautiful.
okay to be free. It's okay to make a new decision about you.
Man, thank you, sister. Thank you so much for coming on. And
you.
you have shared some powerful, powerful words that we need to just, meditate on. I mean, what you were saying about accepting your own, what you were saying about the value of the Black woman, the second self of God, what you were saying about just being yourself. Oh man, this I'm going to watch myself again.
Thank you so much. Let's go free.
Let's go free
on purpose.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you, sister. We're going to tune in to your program, because I know that you have a lot of programs that you put out over Facebook, and I watch them, and they're always inspirational. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much. May God continue to bless your program. Thank you, sister.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
And we want to thank all of you for tuning in to Black Narrative. And this is a program where we address issues from a Black perspective, right? We address issues from a historical context to some of these issues, so that we can begin to understand the dynamics of the world in which we live. As our sister was saying, this is an old world that's going out, and it's a new world that's coming in. And it's time as a people that we get rid of the Negro ways and embrace some of the original man ways, some of our own culture, and cast off their way of thinking and seeing the world. So with that, I want to invite all of you to support this program through our Cash App or our PayPal. You can also become a Patreon member for as little as $3 a month, and that will help us to produce more of these programs. Also, we have merchandise where you can get the Black Narrative t-shirt, as you see with the logo that's up in the corner there. And also, next week, we want you to tune in, because we're going to be talking about water. You know, many of us don't know all of the chemicals and contaminants that are in water, and how water alone, they say it's the source of life. Well, not the water that we drink out of the tap. It's a source of death. So tune in next Thursday. Tune in every Thursday at 6 p.m. And with that, I want to close out with this video by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talking about Dianetics.
May I ask a question? I want to ask them a question. Now, these are Muslim followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad under my leadership. Has anything that you have learned made you less a Muslim, or has it helped you to become a better Muslim?
Way better, sir. Yes, sir.
Would you stand, Reverend Alfredi, and come up, please? Reverend Alfredi is a Baptist preacher. Hello, somebody. Now, I want to ask him. He's a Baptist minister, but he is high in the movement or church of Scientology. And I asked him, in front of you, Has anything that you've learned taken you away from Jesus or made you closer to Jesus?
It made me closer to Jesus, to run towards Jesus. It made Jesus real to me. Nothing but the truth. The whole truth.
Now, why did I bring them here? Because I want, if you trust me, I will never knowingly mislead any human being. But I want to share this with you. And I want the leaders first, just to see it. Maybe we'll come back in a week or two and I'll share with you or let you see a video of how this is done. And when you see it, just look at it, think about it, and then look inside yourself and your church. Because there are people in your church, if they get this technology, they can turn right around in the church and begin helping to relieve members of the church of some of their grief and sorrow over death and things that happen in life as a natural consequence of living. So now that I've said that, I hope that we can arrange for you to see this. And if you will experience it, we had the largest auditing session of over 2,000 people, and we took a whole hotel, ballroom, several of them, and to see people being relieved. One child was 8 years old, and he had this technology, and he was talking to a woman 86 and bringing out her burdens and helping her to deal with it. This is a baby now. Some had an experience that they went back into their mother's womb and could feel the pain of what they were going through, and they understood what the mother went through. I mean, this is, you don't realize how powerful your mind is. You are made in the image of God. I mean, think about that. And this brain of yours has the power to create, but it must be free of all these demons and impediments that bind us to pain and forbid us true pleasure. May I close this now? America, as we speak. Thank you. Thank you. Listen.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.